Alexa, what day is it?
Today is Saturday, March 24th.
Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 9:03 a.m.
Alexa, turn on lamp 1. Hello, this is Linton again.
Hello.
Today we will be looking at information about a place
Ask
called...
me anything factual and I'll answer if I can. Every day I'm learning and getting better.
Alexa, stop. Okay, it's about the 23rd of March. There's a community of Native Americans. I tend to use the term owner for people who were here before anybody started challenging them for the hemisphere. Place was Longhouse Valley. As you can see, right here, I think. Oh, we can't see it. All right. Well, there's a red line and a blue line. The red line is the population in that little valley as figured by charcoal in fireplaces. They found every fireplace in the valley, looked at the charcoal, and saw what years it was occupied, and from there they could calculate a number for population. And then they looked at tree ring thicknesses, and they could do climate, right? So the two lines really are number of occupied houses in red and tree growth in blue. Jared Diamond did this, brilliant work, put a lot of effort into it, and asked a very important question, like, what happens when you do that? Remember the notch? Remember the notch I spoke out before? Well, I'm sure you can see the notch now. We've seen that in, arguably in Denmark, certainly in Asian dynasties. What is called actual population is the fireplace count, of course. The population measured this way far better than just estimating population size by chance of collapsing on the assumption that things collapse because you don't have enough capable people. They really did see where people were eating and how many places were cooking food. Modeled population, tree ring width, computer matched these things up. The two curves we saw, back here, the two curves. The red and the blue, matched them up to give you the best match for the two. The match is very good. It seems inescapable, but there's a causal connection. Either the tree rings are affecting the population size, or the population is causing a change in the tree rings, or they're both reacting to something outside. Diamond went for number 3. The tree rings affect rainfall. Rainfall limits the number of people the valley can sustain. Since number 1's not viable, that is to say, the tree ring width can't be calling people into existence, there's 2 possibilities. All right, either the people are changing the tree rings, or they both were responding to climate or weather. So Diane made the perfectly reasonable assumption that it was all climate. All right, that's reasonable. He didn't know what I'm telling you now, and he hasn't. I've not heard from him recently. The in 800, people started coming in. Let's go back and look at 800. That is going to be right about the beginning of the chart. There. Right there at the beginning. And then people start moving in. Presumably these people come in from a well-balanced traditional community. And as you see, they come in and their numbers decline. They might be getting a little inbreeding depression. There's another stepwise increase and another and another. People in this part of the world evidently move in groups. At this point here, there's the last clear-cut immigration. We never see them leaving, to be sure of it. And so their population is freewheeling. They're probably cultivating the trees either deliberately because they know how much wood they're going to need, or they're just taking trees and pruning the forest. No way to tell from here. Notice that during these early moves, if you try to make the case that the population is limited by the rainfall, people are moving in to starve. But we don't see that. We see them moving in. We don't see them starving. And then here toward the end, the population goes to zero, and tree rings taper on down to about the general level they were at the beginning. All right, so people are cultivating trees deliberately or accidentally, just incidentally. All right. So more people moved in 850, and at that point the population began to grow. That may seem like a puzzle if we're believing that it's all due to climate and weather and tree rings. And in the year 1000, they have more people moving in. Don't get me wrong, I really like this study. I really admire it. This graph that we saw, I made a copy of it and put it on an easel and stuck it by my front door for years. And I would look at it every day, twice a day minimum. And okay, so what happens when you let a population just cut and run? And there's that notch. And I told myself, until you can follow that curve and explain it and model it, reproduce it, you don't understand anything. Everything of any consequence is right on that graph. And until you understand it well enough to say, okay, I'm going to press this button and I get the same behavior, all you're doing is watching fluff. That's what I told myself. And of course, the time course. Let's go back and look at that curve again. So we come along. We got ourselves a pretty good growth. There's the notch, and there's the collapse. Just like those Asian dynasties, China, Japan, follows the same course. This time you can see that the second peak is higher than the first, and that turns out to be important. So you got mighty of the earth, emperor of half of Asia, but his family, his fertility curve is following the same time course as these subsistence farmers, otherwise forgotten and unknown, somewhere in the middle of a desert in the southwest, and they're following the same arithmetic, same pattern. Um, so we're looking at something utterly fundamental. Um, from about year 1000 to the fact point the population empties out completely, well, it empties out. They die out. Face it, they didn't ever move away. Their numbers went to zero. That's called dying out. Um, the they had that took about 300 years, like any old Western civilization or Asian empire. Um, okay, two peaks, second higher than the first. We shall be seeing that again. So, yes, all the best. Thanks for coming by. If you can find it in your heart, watch all these programs and tell all your friends. You're carrying the torch. It only takes one spark to light the world up, and we can see where we're going. And nobody knows where that's going to come from. Sooner or later, it'll come. I'm sorry, yeah, this is not something that will remain unknown forever. Because it's already out there, right? But it has remained unknown for as long as there's been complex life. So get out there, read, do whatever you can to call attention to the people who do this a lot. Say, click the subscribe button and the notification, whatever. You decide what you want to do. But we really do need to spread the word. Thank you. Alexa, turn off light 1.